Hey everybody, this is Claire, and this is Small Joyful Things. As always, I go to thrift stores or estate sales, or sometimes I buy things from Craigslist, and I'm always looking for things that I personally find interesting or that I think you guys would find interesting. And then I bring them home, try and find out as much as I can about them, and then tell you guys about them. So here's what I've got today. This is probably going to be a bit more of a kind of a comparison kind of thing more than anything else, but I hope it's going to be interesting to you. I have a pair of very, very small little cordial glasses. And now you can see, obviously I have very small hands, but these are incredibly tiny little glasses. They're in remarkably good condition, I have to say. They are both hand blown and really in very nice condition. I repeat myself. Okay, so they're hand blown, and essentially we can tell this because if you can see there are all these tiny little bubbles in it, and there's a little bubble there in the rim as well. You can also look at the base, and you can see the marks that were kind of left. Now you can see there, it's maybe a little better, you can see that kind of pitted surface, and then that little line there. There's only a certain amount that I actually know about how exactly essentially the pontil scars. As we know, when we're actually hand blowing something, you get your little piece of glass, and you have it at the end of a stick, basically the punty, or whatever you want to call it, and it's, you know, turned back and forth, and it's shaped and everything, and then eventually they need to actually crack it off at the end of the pontil, and that's the scar that's left behind. And the kind of interesting thing about this one is that, like, you can see that it has a pitted surface, but also has that kind of that line. As far as I know, the line is where they essentially just kind of clipped it off and they end up kind of smoothing it back. I'm not 100% sure about that. The other one is slightly more interesting because you can see that has that in the center. It has a very nicely pitted surface. That is a sand pontil mark, a sand pontil scar. Essentially, the way this would have been attached to the pont. There's a lovely bubble right there if you see it. Another few in the rim. This would have been attached with essentially with glass sand, and it's kind of at the very kind of end of the blob. If you imagine, it sticks like this, and it just means that when you actually take it off, it's much easier to take off, and it leaves less of a mark, and you essentially just have that little pitted surface at the end. Now, so I was in a thrift store and I ended up paying I think $1 each for these, and I really got them because, first of all, they're hand blown, and they're kind of roughly hand blown as well. And the style of them looked very old fashioned. This kind of like teeny tiny little cordial glass is not really a modern thing, I don't think. I've seen a lot, like shot glasses, yes, but shot glasses all tend to have a particular style, and they all tend to have the same amount in them. This is very much a little bit smaller than how much you'd actually expect to have in a shot glass. It's not, it doesn't strike me as being something for modern liqueur drinking. A little cordial glass, however, that seems far more Victorian. And I was kind of just taking a bit of a guess, but the thing is that I kind of found that I was more than likely correct, because I had this with me, my handy dandy blacklight. Once again, it is a Convoy S2+. It produces a long wave UV radiation, and it produces some very strong results. Like there's a massive battery in this, and in fact, I'm just going to show this to you guys. I have another blacklight that runs on 3 AAA batteries. This is not that battery. This is a massive rechargeable 18560 battery. That is basically what this would be required in order to run. Let's put that back together. For what it's worth, I actually got this without the battery. It took me another month just to source the battery. That was fun, I have to tell you. And yet, it has been worth every penny. Now, this is why. First of all, you can see how bright that UV light is. It's amazing. But also, even in normal light, it lights up these glasses. Look at that green. Now, bear in mind again, these are not uranium glass. So you may be asking yourself, it's like, oh damn, Claire, why is this lighting up green? Now the thing is, it doesn't even look very green, it looks more blue. You can definitely see the green, but it obviously shows up more blue or whatever on the camera. You will have to just take my word for it. These things are very, very green. Yeah, you can see it maybe a little bit there. Really make it stand out. like I said, best blacklight ever. Now, for comparison, I'm just going to show you these. These will show up in a different video. We'll get back to that. I just wanted to kind of show you the difference between the two when you actually look at it over a blacklight. Part of the reason that I got this is because glass that has different composition will have a different fluorescence under a blacklight, and having the blacklight is a really good way of kind of essentially being a, you know, it kind of tells you a little bit about what it's actually made of. So because of the green showing up here, and it's kind of a limey green or whatever, it's not real uranium green, but it is kind of a yellowy green, it is probably manganese. As in, manganese would have been used up to the 30s as a clarifying, essentially to make clear glass. That's basically what these are. And I kind of think that this gives it this kind of gives me the idea this is probably going to be, like, based on the style as well, it kind of suggests that these are probably Victorian, or at the very least early 20th century. Now this, you can see has quite a different response. It's practically electric blue. And this is not the blacklight, by the way. If you actually see this in person, that's not a reflection of the actual light. It is literally lighting up electric blue, okay? That's because it's lead crystal. Lead crystal has a very strong ice blue fluorescence. And even if we're going to just compare one to the other, it's probably hard to tell, but you can see that maybe the shade of, like, I can see this definitely just looking at them here. This has a different kind of shade of clear. This is kind of a little more yellowy, possibly. This one is more bluey, kind of a look to it. But give you some idea. Anyway, we'll get back to these in another video. But yeah, so here's what we've got. What we've got, possibly two Victorian. I'm going to put this down for a second because I should have actually measured these up. Like I said, I have tiny hands, and these are very, very tiny. They are about 2.5 inches tall and just about 2 inches wide. Super tiny. I was actually trying to get a full set of them. I ended up only getting the 2 because I couldn't find any more. The nice ladies in the thrift shop were kind enough to sell them for $1 a piece, even though they weren't actually priced. So now I don't actually have a whole lot because I totally forgot to get things ready. But I know what I'm looking for. But turn off airplane mode or use Wi-Fi to access data. What are you? Okay, so, oh my God. Oh, yeah, we're going to call it technical difficulties, all right? I'm going to find some resources on Victorian Cordial glasses, so at least you can get some idea of what, like, we know for sure is definitely around the right time period and everything that has a kind of the style. I've definitely found a few things, just for reference value anyway. Now, again, because these are clear glass, they are not going to be worth a whole hell of a lot. I paid, obviously, $1 a piece for them. They're probably not even worth that because it's mostly, I think, for a flex thing, or for if you want to collect antiques or something like that. And we're not even 100% sure that these are Victorian, just that they're very likely to be because they obviously have a lot of manganese in them, and the style and the, you know, the hand blowing seems kind of old-fashioned as well. Apart from that, like, I don't really know. I would say that the best I'm going to do is probably put them up on Etsy for $10, or, you know, at most probably less than that, plus whatever the cost of shipping on top of that. So if I do my normal thing with free shipping, I'll be selling these for $20. And that's based on, they'll probably be shipped using my normal cost at about $10 to $15. And then, you know what, I'll get money back, I guess, because they are unusual, if nothing else. And considering that they may be antiques, they're in excellent condition. They obviously weren't really used much. If they're not antiques, they're just really unusual little glasses, and, you know, $20 is kind of what I think they might be worth. So there we go. I actually have I'm going to be doing some more videos on fluorescence now that I've actually got my blacklight. It's been really awesome being able to just, you know, flash it across the shelf and just kind of see some stuff light up and you go, ooh, what's that? It's fun. It's a useful thing to have. So these are my small joyful thing for the day. I hope you guys like it as well. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.